It's another Saturday, and welcome to the Global Scholar Gateway, your premier guide to studying abroad. My name is Dr. Yaro, your host. And if you're watching us this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, it's simply because you are probably interested in studying abroad or finding out how you can gain admission to some of those prestigious universities around the world, but not only gain admission, but also secure decent scholarships to pursue your education in some of those prestigious universities. And our goal at the Global Scholar Gateway is just to help you accomplish that. That goal that you have, that dream that you have to study abroad. That's why every weekend I bring on some of the amazing scholars who were able to make it work for themselves. Those scholars were able to not only gain admission to some of those prestigious universities around the world, in the United States, in the UK, in Canada, in Europe, around the world, as I said, so that they can share their experiences with you on how they were able to not only gain admissions, but also how they were able to secure decent scholarships to pursue their academic dreams, their academic journey. And my host this morning my guest this morning is one of those amazing scholars who was able to gain admission to some of the prestigious universities in the United States. And without further ado, Ayooluwa Animashaun. How are you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing too?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you mind introducing yourself to our viewers?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayooluwa Animashaun, and I'm currently a PhD student at Morgan State University. Then I also lecture undergraduates in the Department of Accounting and Finance.
All right. Do you mind sharing more about your background? How or where did it all start? Where were you born? Where did you go to school in elementary school, high school, and also university in Nigeria?
Oh, that's a bit of history.
Yes.
Yeah, I was born in a city called Ibadan in Nigeria, and that's where I grew up. And I went to two elementary schools. We call it primary school. The first one I went to is called Ayooluwa Nursery and Primary School. I was there till primary two first term. Then later I went to another primary school named Jesus Cares International Nursery and Primary School. Then for my high school, my secondary school, I had that in the city of Oyo. And although the school has a different name now, but the name then was Oyo State College of Education Model High School. But it's now Emmanuel Alayande University of Education Model High School. And that was where I had my high school education. Then my undergrad studies was before my undergrad studies, I stayed at home for a year. Then after that, I got admission. So I studied banking and finance at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta.
Okay, so after high school, you took a gap year before enrolling to college. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but the gap was not my choice because
Okay.
there's this admission battle we face after high school. So I applied to gain admission in a particular university, but it didn't work out. Then at some point, I also applied to go to the Nigerian Defense Academy to become an Air Force officer. I tried twice, but that one was beyond my power. Let me just say it like that.
So you were interested in joining the Nigerian military, the Nigerian army?
Yeah, I was prepared for that, both mentally, physically, but I'm here today still a civilian.
Okay, so after high school, the gap year, where did you go?
Okay, for the gap year, it was a period of me staying at home and preparing for the next admission here. And I was also for the next admission year, I was also in a fix because I applied to two universities then, and we have what we call the JAMB then, that's the Joint Admission Matriculation Board. I don't know if the name has changed. So after that, the university will also conduct their evaluation. We call it the post-JAMB. So my post-JAMB for the University of Ilorin and Federal, that time it was the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. The name was not Federal then. So it fell on the same day. So I was in between, and they're in two different cities apart. So it's either I go for this or this. So I was So that was an opportunity for me to test my mathematical skills, probability, and everything.
Yeah.
So I went for the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and I got the admission, and I'm glad I went there because I had one of my best educational experiences there. Yeah.
And what did you study at that institution?
I studied banking and finance.
Okay, banking and finance. Why did you choose to go for banking after an attempt to go to the army? Why banking?
Okay, during my attempt to actually go to the Nigerian Defense Academy, so the Nigerian Defense Academy is also a university. So even though you are being trained to become a combatant officer, you also have your specialization. So I actually wanted to study accounting there because they don't have finance. So I wanted to study accounting and be an accountant and also a military officer in the Nigerian Air Force. Yeah.
Okay, so you graduate with your bachelor's degree from the Agricultural University in Nigeria, and then what do you do after graduation?
Okay, after graduation, the following year I went for the compulsory National Youth Service Corps. I was posted to Kebbi State in the north. Kebbi State is it's a state that it's a border state because it's beside Niger Republic. So that was what I said.
Yeah, compulsory service that you mentioned, for our viewers who are not familiar with how things work in Nigeria, do you mind expanding a little bit more on that? What is that compulsory service, and what does it imply?
Okay, so a few years after Nigeria's independence, there was a civil war. And after the civil war, as a way to actually integrate everybody back, because Nigeria is a country that has hundreds of tribes, speaks a lot of local languages. We have over 300, a lot of tribes. And so just as a way to integrate everybody back, so the government of General Yakubu Gowon then now started what we call the National Youth Service Corps. So if you grew up in this state, you were born here, you schooled here, they would post you to live for a year in another state so that you can mix and know more about the culture, which is it's a culture different from what you already know. So when you're posted for the service, you have about 3 weeks camping experience with military officers. They give you some basic training. It's fun because you will live like, let me say, a paramilitary person. And
So
it's always fun with the military officers. What did you say?
Yeah, a type of program that prepares you to also be able to defend the country if there's a need for you to enroll suddenly or at some point in the army, and also be able to fight beside some of the professional military. Is that right?
Yeah, indirectly, but you are not. I would say you are not a military officer. Your service is just during that 1 year period.
Okay.
Because it's for all graduates. If you have a bachelor's or HND, you go for the compulsory service. Then after the 3 weeks camping experience, you have like a week break. Then for the remaining part of the year, for 8 to clock 12 months, you will be posted to a place we call the place of primary assignment. Now, most people, they post them to schools to teach. But for me, I was posted to the Ministry of Finance in Kebbi State. That was where I served, yeah.
Okay, the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
So after that compulsory service, you mentioned that you worked as a banker. Did I get that right?
Yeah, but that was not immediately, because after my service year, I stayed back in the States for almost another year. Because during the service year, I didn't go home at all. So after the service, I went home briefly, came back, and I was working as an administrative officer and an account officer it's a church, but it's the administrative part of the church. So I was working as an account and administrative officer then. So but I left in February 2018, went back to the Southwest in Lagos, and that was when I now started my banking career, which was a major part of my career experience before leaving Nigeria.
Okay. All right. We'll get the opportunity to dive a little deeper into your banking experience, and also the opportunity that you got to study abroad, specifically in the United States. But to our viewers, if you're just joining us, if you don't mind, please type in the comment where you're joining us from. Are you watching from Nigeria, from the United States? And also, please do us a favor. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so. It's going to be very helpful for us, and we will be able to continue bringing you some of the amazing scholars so that they can share their inspiring stories with you, so that you too can make your dream come true by securing not only admission to some of those prestigious universities around the world, but also how you can gain some wonderful scholarships to alleviate the cost of tuition to study in some of those prestigious universities around the world. All right, so AY, let's talk now about your experience, your banking experience in Lagos. So you did your compulsory service in a different region of Nigeria, and afterwards you moved back to Lagos. How were you able to get that opportunity to work as a banker in Lagos? I mean, Lagos is, if I'm not mistaken, the largest city in Nigeria, right? It's even larger than Abuja.
Yeah, based on population.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you get that opportunity?
Okay, so when I go back to the Southwest, when I got to Lagos, I started applying for jobs, mostly jobs related to my field, jobs in the finance sector, banking, insurance, and everything. So my first banking job was at a microfinance bank. The name is Adosa Microfinance Bank. It was a state microfinance bank. I don't know if it's now a national microfinance bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a credit officer, a junior marketing officer. That was my role. Mm-hmm. And it all started with a 3-month training then, and it was an intensive training. I know some people have had experience working in the microfinance banking side, but for me, the experience was different because I never knew they would actually train us. And part of what I was taught during the training, I still apply till today. It was an intensive training then at Lagos Island. Then after the training, we were all posted to different branches or units in the head office. But for me, I was posted to the branch at a place called Mushi in Lagos. Mm-hmm. So I was one of those in charge of, let me say, carrying out the bank's activities in the Mushi and Oshodi area. And the way the microfinance bank works is this, because I know not all countries have microfinance banking system. So it's a way of facilitating financial inclusion. So, the normal conventional banking, people go to the bank, open accounts, run their transactions, deposits, and everything. But for the microfinance banking, we take the banking to them. Mm-hmm. So we go to the marketplaces, the businesses, because most of them from morning till evening, they are busy with their customers. They don't have the time to actually move out. Mm-hmm. So we go there to take the banking services to them, even including things like accepting their deposits or disbursing loans to them, because we give out loans. That's one of the major things we did then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how long did you work for that banking institution?
Okay, Adosa, I worked for about a year, less than a year.
Okay. Yeah. So after you stay there for a year, and is that just after that you decided to study abroad?
Okay, so from Adosa, I got another offer at Zenith Bank PLC, which is arguably the biggest bank in Nigeria.
Wow. Okay.
And not just Nigeria; they have branches in different parts of Africa, the United Kingdom, and even some offices in other countries outside Africa.
Yeah.
So I got an offer to work there, and I started in the operations part. I was working as a teller. That was how I started in Zenith Bank. Mm-hmm. Then at some point, I got reassigned from my branch to the head office, where I was posted to a unit, the Diaspora Banking Department, where I was a Diaspora Remittance Officer. And it was a very great experience there because, someone coming from a place where you were facilitating financial inclusion in the market, then later to staying on the counter in a branch, then now you are now dealing with Nigerians living abroad. Because in summary, my role was to provide banking services to Nigerians living outside the country, every part of the world. So it was just like a role in which I didn't have a
Wow.
time zone.
That sounds like a big responsibility. You had
Yeah,
a big role at that majestic banking institution.
exactly. And we have different time zones. So I might be at home, a customer will need service. I'll need to go online just
Yeah.
to attend to the customers thing. So it was very interesting, and it was filled with a lot of activities.
So yeah, you've mentioned some of the activities that you were doing for the African diaspora or the Nigerian diaspora living in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Uh, were you able to build some meaningful connections, relationships with the individuals that you were serving working at that banking institution?
Yes, I was able to build meaningful relationships because banking is about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of banks. We have banks that might even be offering similar services.
Yeah.
It depends on how you present your services, how you meet the customer's needs, that they will actually take you, how will I put it, that they will actually take your services. So through my work, I was able to actually build meaningful relationship with
Mm-hmm.
Nigerians in diaspora in different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that, in our countries, working as a banker, that means you are a big man. You're making some big bucks, right? Why somebody working at the largest banking institution in Nigeria decide to go Japan, if
Okay,
I may
Japan.
use that expression, or to study abroad. Why did you decide as a banker, as I said, you were having a good life for yourself? Why did you choose to study abroad?
Okay, the journey that led me to study abroad is actually beyond the banking career. It started as an undergraduate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could remember in 2013 we had this long strike, university strike and everything. So then I was frustrated that why are we just sitting at home? Nothing is going on in school and everything. So I started checking online. How do I even study abroad? How do I travel? I tried, but there's a way you will search for information and you will not get the solution. So I would actually trace the journey to 2013. Then after that, when I left Kebbi and went back to the southwest to Lagos, I I tried different options. That was the time I tried going to Japan for studies. But
Oh, really? Yeah,
yeah,
I was also kind of interested in studying abroad in Japan. When I was looking for opportunities to study abroad, I applied for a scholarship. I don't know if the Nigerian government has that partnership with Japan as well. They had a scholarship called the Kobe scholarship that would bring some African students to
together.
study in Japan. So I started applying for that. But yeah, that's a story for another day. And
Yeah.
so
I've
yeah.
forgotten the name of the program, but I remember then it was, and Japan is actually a very good country to study. It's a good country to study. So
Absolutely.
I almost started the process, but I didn't continue. Then later in 2020, yeah, I was thinking of going to, okay, before that. So I've always wanted to come to the United States
Mhm,
far back 2013, but trying to check other options and everything. So the United States was still in my mind, and I was already getting some information. I was even in some groups,
mhm,
and as I then, I would just see someone would just post on the group, I've gotten my admission, I've gotten funding, or I got my visa today. I was like, how are they doing it?
mhm.
That's what I left the group because it was like I didn't understand what they were doing there.
Yeah.
Then I could remember in 2022, me and my fiancée, then now my wife,
Mhm,
we joined a group. It was about people wanted to study in some universities in the state of Ohio. We
mhm.
joined, then people will say, oh, I've gotten admission. We left that group too because it was like we were not getting the information we needed from the group. So
Yeah.
at some point, we were like, okay, let's try Canada. So I already paid for the is it IELTS, the exam, everything,
IELTS, yep.
but for some reasons, maybe it's like the United States was always trying to block other countries. So I almost I almost continued that, but I stopped. So in 2021, I was a bit serious with the United States. One of my friends, Toby, I don't know, you might be listening to, he's in the United States. So he was always
Shout
like,
out to Toby if he's watching us
yeah.
live this morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was always like US telling me about opportunities and everything. So okay, so I started then. I remember then he told me about the GRE exam.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say I disliked the exam, but I later wrote it before my PhD. I had no choice. So I started preparing for
no, well, before you continue, I haven't spoken to an international student or to a student who had to take the GRE test and who told me that they liked that test. I took the GRE. It was one of the most difficult tests, but
yeah.
you need to be prepared. You need some preparation definitely to go for that test. And if you are prepared enough, you can get the score that is required for you to secure admission to grad school. So yeah, to our viewers who are willing to come for graduate studies, you will definitely need to go through that test, depending on some programs. I know that some programs waive the GRE test, but some programs still make it a requirement. And if you have to go through that test, make sure that you are very well prepared, because it's no joke. It's not a fun test. But as I said, if you're prepared enough, you can make it work for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I started preparing for the GRE. I was reading, but I was like, why all this stress? So in between, I just got distracted from the United States again. So I started looking at the United Kingdom.
Wow.
I applied. I even got admission. I got admitted into the University of Hull for a master's in finance.
Okay, University of Hull.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
where is
after
that located in the UK?
What did you say?
Where is it located in the UK?
Yeah, Hull. It's in a city called Hull, HULL.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
University of Hull. So I got the admission then, and was like, okay, maybe I should pursue this. And so after that, my friend now came back again, January 20, because I already told him that I'm not coming to the US again. I'll just try another country. So he came back again January 2020. So I was like, okay, there's this school, Forte State University. He now mentioned another friend of ours, Esther. I know she's watching. Yeah, that okay, Esther just got to this school. You can try this school. It was not. I remember he told me to be preparing for GRE.
Mm-hmm.
He now told me that at the moment that she got the admission without even using a GRE and everything. I was like, oh, but you told me to be reading. so that's how Fortes came into the picture. But it was like I'll need to do West evaluation and some other things. So that was how I got to know about Fortes. And I read about the school, read about the MBA, especially the finance part, and I saw that wow, this program actually aligns with what I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what made me come across Forte State University.
So a journey that started by, you said it started, your interest for study abroad started back in 2013, and you started looking into that through universities in Japan, with possibilities to go to Japan, and then from Japan, you joined some groups that were kind of advertising schools in Canada. You looked into Canada, and the groups were not helpful enough, and you joined another group with students from Ohio University, if I got that correct, right?
Was it Kent State University and Cleveland State University in Ohio?
In Ohio, okay, Cleveland State University. And in those groups also, you were not gaining the type of information that you were looking for, but you didn't give up. You persisted, and you continued looking for other platforms where you could get the right type of information that you need in order for you to make that dream of studying abroad come true. You persisted, and you came across Toby that you mentioned, and he also started talking about some other options, and then you ended up hearing about Fort Hays State University. How was the application process to join the institution that you mentioned, Fort Hays State University?
Okay, so after looking at the school, because it was me and my wife, then my fiancé, planning to Damilola, we were both planning to go to the school. So I checked for my desired program. We also checked us too. She checked us too, and we both saw that both my program was what I would like to pursue the content, and she also her program is something she would like to pursue, like okay, maybe don't let me tell her story because she might have an opportunity to tell her story later, so I will not go into her story. So we saw that the school aligns, and the application process was it was straightforward. Like the information on the website, everything. Even though I had people in the school already, like I mentioned.
Now that you're talking about the website, let me see if I can share my screen,
okay.
and we can go through some of those information. So this is the website for international students who are willing to apply to Fort Hays State University. AY went to that school for his master's program, and you have all the information that you need. As I said, when you visit the website, so there's an online application form that you need to fill out, and the application fee, $50 that you also need to pay, and you need to submit all the required documents. What are some of the documents that you had to submit when you're applying, AY?
Okay, so I needed to do a West evaluation of my Nigerian transcript. The West evaluation is just a way of converting your Nigerian transcript or any country you schooled to the American standard. Then for most of us that schooled where our GPA was over 5.0, some 7.0, it will be converted to 4.0. So I did the West evaluation. And aside from that, for my program, it was 2 recommendations. So I reached out to some qualified people who could recommend me. Okay. And for recommendation, it doesn't have to be academic recommendation alone. You can even get professional. So I think I got both professional and academic recommendation. Then I paid the application fee, and what other document was required? Okay, then my personal statement, that's what we call the statement of purpose. So I wrote down, I spoke about my career progression, my interest, why I would like to study in the school and also to study in the United States. And I think it was just about 2 pages. I wrote more than that, but I had to just reduce. Yeah.
So yeah, if there's an advice that you could give to some of the people who are watching us also and who are interested in coming to Fort Hays State University, specifically on crafting that personal statement that you've mentioned, because I know that it's a very important document. It needs to be very well written. What are some tips that you can share with our viewers so that they too can write a compelling personal statement that can
Okay, in writing the personal, in writing the personal statement, some of us grew up with a kind of conservative background, so you don't really say a lot about your achievements, things you've done, or most times we allow the imposter syndrome to come over us, like we look at what we've done as no, I've not really done enough, or don't let me just say this. So when writing the personal statement, the person reading knows nothing about you. So if you don't blow your trumpet or talk about your achievements, nobody will. So it's an opportunity for you to actually express yourself, who you are, what you've achieved. And there are some achievements there are some things you've achieved that you're actually looking at as a normal thing, but it's not normal. Write about it. So the personal statement is just mainly about who you are. You're introducing yourself. Then you're talking about your academic and career, let me say, stories, your background.
Yeah.
They're also talking about why you've selected that school, because looking at the United States, we have over 5,000 universities and colleges. So why are you picking that university? So you need to talk about that, and why you also want to study in the United States, because we have different countries, and you have your country to where you can study, but why are you coming to the United States? So you need to just talk about things like that. So let it be detailed but brief, about 2 except some schools will specify, let it be a page, let it be this number of words. So if they don't specify, I think about 2 pages is okay.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely a very good point that needs some reinforcement. We coming from backgrounds where we've been taught to always be humble as Africans, and when you're applying to an American university or to some of those universities around the world, you need to be your own advocate, and you need to be your personal marketer, if I may use that expression, to sell yourself very extensively. Do not be shy about the things that you have accomplished. It's not bragging if it is true, the things that you will be putting on the personal statement that you have accomplished. If you were able, for example, to build schools in your country, or to work with some organizations to address some social issues and solve them in the community, you should be proud to mention that in your personal statement. And as AY was also mentioning, it is very important, very, very important to mention why you want to study in the United States and what are your plans after you complete your education in the United States or to some of those universities around the world. Because they want to see, most universities want to see that you have a plan for your country, you have a plan for your community, you have that leadership potential to solve some real world issues after completion of your degree program. So be sure to mention all of those details when you are writing your personal statement. So I just wanted to emphasize that, AY. So yes, you can continue.
Okay, so those were basically the documents that was required, and later on I got the admission, but I didn't apply to Fortes, and I also applied to another university in Georgia.
Okay.
I applied to 2 universities.
Which university was that?
That's Georgia Southern University.
Georgia Southern University,
Yeah, and I got an admission there too. Okay, so but this is one important thing I want to also emphasize. Although, or except you will ask me later about funding and everything, so I'm not going to now. Should I go into that now? I should talk about it later.
Well, no. Let me first maybe share a little bit about the university that you've just mentioned. Georgia State.
Georgia Southern University.
So yeah, because the goal for us, if you're watching us and you're interested in studying abroad, as we've mentioned, there are more than 5,000 or 4,000 universities in the United States. And our goal here at Global Scholar Gateway is to expose some of those universities for you so that you can also look into them. And if you're interested in applying, you can do so. So that's the website of the university that AY has just mentioned. You can search it for yourself and find out if that is a right fit for you. Now, you mentioned that you applied to Fortes State University, you were able to secure admission, and you come to the institution, you make it to Hays in Kansas. What were your first impressions when you landed in Hays, Kansas, and on the campus of Fortes State University?
Okay, so before arriving, I already read a lot about the city, about the school, so I was not really surprised. But okay, one of the things that caught my attention was when I landed at the airport, and one of the staff at the international office, shout out to Manny, yeah, so she came to pick me at the airport. So when she dropped me, then I, with a new friend of mine, Kofi, we went to the university. So he told me that, okay, we're already in the school. I was like, oh, how come? Because in Nigeria we have fences around the university. There's this fence, then you have security around and everything. So he said we're already in the. I said, but how did we? How come we entered the university? Then at some point he said we've left the university because no fence, no barrier, nothing. So Ace is a very lovely city. It's a very beautiful and lovely city. It's not that populated, but it's a place that you would like to experience. Like there's peace of mind there.
Yeah.
It's a very lovely place, and
I know. Yeah, for somebody moving from Lagos to Hays, Lagos has close to what, 20 million, the population.
Yeah,
and you come to Hays. Yeah, where the population is about what, 20,000?
20,000, yeah. And the weird thing about mentioning those cities is that I have checked, but you can reconfirm, Ace has a bigger land mass than Lagos.
Yes, that is true. Yep.
Now imagine a city with a bigger land mass having just about 20,000 people, and looking at Lagos, which is a densely populated place with millions, or about maybe 20 million people.
Yeah.
So you should understand the difference. Like,
yeah,
like in Ace, you can decide that, okay, I'm going to this place and I'll be there in 3 minutes, and you'll be there in 3 minutes. For Lagos, I will not say anything.
So what are some of the positive things that you can say about, the size of the city? It's a smaller community. In terms of safety, how safe did you feel when you were going through your master's program here in Hays?
I will give Ace 100% when it comes to safety. I've gone around is even in the midnight if I'm nothing.
Yeah.
Even on the university campus, I can walk 1 a.m. and nothing will happen. It's a very safe environment. It's a very safe environment.
Yeah, definitely true. That's I also share that with some parents when I travel to recruit students, because one of the primary concerns for African parents is safety for their kids when they travel to the United States. Because when you go on social media, you can see a lot of crazy stuff happening around the country. But what I usually share is that Hayes is definitely a very safe community. I've lived in many different cities in the United States, but I haven't lived in any city that was as safe as Hayes. And what I usually tell parents is that I sometimes go to work and, I can leave my doors open and I would come back and find everything right in place. Nobody will kind of try to break in your house and steal some of your stuff. An anecdote is that I was living in a previous city, and one day I went to the gym, came back, left my shoes at my door, and went to sleep. And I woke up in the morning to find that the shoes were gone. There were some nice Nikes, but yeah, those are things that we don't get to see in Hayes, like issues related to gun violence, issues related to racism that most African parents are concerned when they're sending their kids to study in the United States. We see all those kind of stuff also through social media, living in Hayes. So yeah. So let's talk about the type of financial support that you gain during your studies at Fort Hays State University. How were you able to get that financial support?
Okay, so during the process of checking for universities with my friend, my wife, and everyone, then the goal was not to just get admission, but to get a funded program, a fully funded program.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the criteria in checking for universities. So for Fort Hays, I actually got my fully funded package even before getting my visa, and before leaving
Wow.
Nigeria.
Wow, that is impressive. So yeah, how were you able to do that?
Okay, so after getting my admission, I made a lot of applications on the school. The Workday, we have an account called Workday. Once you get admission, you get a Workday account. For some other schools, it can be WebSys. There are different names. So I checked there for opportunities. I applied to a lot of it. Then, most importantly, I also sent emails to professors in my department, introducing myself. This is who I am. I have this experience. I've gotten admission, and I would like to know more about funding opportunities and how to get it. So I was not getting interviews and everything. I was almost giving up on the funding part. Then luckily one day they posted another funding opportunity for the School of Business. Then I applied and I was invited for an interview, which I did virtually. So about 3 to 5 professors interviewed me. They asked me a lot of questions. They will first want to know who I am, then a lot of on-the-job questions and questions about how to manage situations and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
So what was the position? What did it entail, and what were some of your responsibilities?
okay, it's graduate teaching assistantship. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it involves me. It goes beyond teaching though, but it involves me assisting professors. That I'm talking about the peculiarity of the one I had in Fortes.
Yeah.
Assisting professors to, maybe you can teach some classes at some point, or you can
Mm-hmm.
assist them in classes. Then you
Yeah.
also
So
assist with research work and some other departmental functions. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Did you have any background in teaching before coming to Fort Hays State University?
Yeah, before coming to Fortes, no.
All right. Okay.
No, I didn't have any background in teaching, so I think it was based on my experience in the field.
Yeah.
Because it was an MBA in finance, so it was based on my experience in finance. But
Mm-hmm.
even though I don't have a kind of experience teaching, for example, they asked for some questions during the interview, which I was able to actually give quality answers
Mm-hmm.
about teaching and everything, and my opinion. But I
Yeah.
don't have the experience teaching. I've never taught.
Yeah.
before.
So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if you're watching us, please take note. This is a very important lesson that we are learning today from AY. You don't need to certainly have a background in teaching before securing a teaching assistant position at some of those universities in the United States. Coming from banking, he applied to come for a master's program, and he was looking for financial support. When he saw that the university and his department was looking for a graduate assistant, a graduate teaching assistant, he decided to apply, knowing that he didn't have any background in teaching. That did not kind of prevent him from submitting his application. He submitted the application, went through an interview process, and he was finally selected to work as a graduate teaching assistant, a position that sponsored or financed his studies in the United States here at Fort Hays State University. His tuition was fully funded. So you too can make that happen for yourself. Do not be shy because you don't have a background in some kind of work. You might just self-censor yourself not to apply and not to give it a try. Do not hesitate to always give it a try. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. All they can do is just reject you if it doesn't work. But you may also secure the position, as in AY's case. So do not be the one who kind of self-censor themselves and refuse to apply because you think that you do not have the appropriate background. And again, if you're watching us, please type in the comment where you're watching us from. And also, if you have questions for our guest this morning, you can type them in the comment as well. All right, so you secure the admission, you gain the assistantship to study at Fort Hays State University. So tell us more about your experience, your teaching experience with the Fort Hays State students.
Okay, yeah, it was a very good experience. The two classes I really taught throughout my 2 years at Fort Hays was micro and macroeconomics, yeah, Econ 201 and 202 for sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sophomores are like what we call 200 level students in Nigeria.
Okay.
And during my first semester, I had experience of working with one of the professors on a research who are working on. So let me just clear my throat. No, my voice. Okay, so then aside from that, we had some other basic departmental duties we also did and everything. But in everything, they made sure that it didn't affect our studies because, you know, as an international student, you have to do at least 9 credit hours in a semester. Yeah. So they also factor that in, and you know that during the semester, you can't work more than 20 hours as an international student. So everything was factored in. But along the line during my second semester, I added to my functions when I decided to work in partnership with the Global Affairs Department at Fort Hays. So it was a position that gave me the opportunity to market Fort Hays State University's MBA program with the Global Affairs Office to the outside world. You know, okay, I know you know a lot about the Global Affairs Office.
Well, you were initially recruited to work as a graduate teaching assistant. And in addition to that, you were also able to get another job on campus to work in the international office. How were you able to do that?
Okay, so after my admission, I do post a lot of things online, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So I think that got the attention of the Global Affairs Office that, wow, this guy is doing a good job on social media. So they reached out to my departmental chair, Dr. Tulabo, and myself, and we had a meeting. So they said they would like me to do more of that with them, and that was how I joined the Global Affairs team. So I will not call it a new job. It was just like an additional role because everything was still factored into the number of hours I'm meant to work. So some of it I work at the department, some at the Global Affairs. So it was just like me having 2 offices. Then I had an office space at the Global Affairs, and I had my office in the School of Business.
Yeah.
And it was a very great experience to me. I didn't see it as having extra work or burden. It even had more meaning
Mm-hmm.
to what I was doing on campus. In
Yeah.
addition to some other extracurricular activities I got involved in later and everything.
Yeah. So that teaches me a lesson that, no matter what you're doing, some people are watching you.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you were working as a graduate teaching assistant, minding your own business, posting your experience at Fort Hays State University. And there were some individuals in the international office that were watching, the things that you were posting on social media, and they gained interest in your profile. And they also wanted you to work with them and do the type of posts you were doing for yourself on your own platform for the international office. So if you're watching us, as I said, people are always watching whatever you're doing. Pay attention to what you post on social media. It can create opportunities for you, or it can also shut some doors for you, depending on what you're doing, what kind of activities you engaged in on social media. So shout out to you. Congratulations on all those accomplishments, AY. And I think those are very significant lessons for the people who are watching us today, how you were able to gain the fully funded graduate teaching assistantship position before even coming to the United States. You were looking for opportunities, you saw one, you decided to apply, you were reaching out to faculty members, you were reaching out to staff members in your department. So those are things that our viewers should also incorporate, get. When you're looking for those kind of opportunities, feel free to go on the university's website, reach out to the appropriate individuals. Nobody is going to hurt you because you're looking for those kind of opportunities. But if you just submit your application, you gain admission, and you think that somebody will reach out to you because of your amazing profile, it's probably not going to happen. You need to take the first step by reaching out to faculty members, reaching out to the department chair, reaching out to some individuals in the international office. That's how you end up gaining traction, interest in your profile, and also securing the type of financial support that you need to pursue your academic program in the United States. But anyway, I know that when you were at Fort Hays State University, you were involved more than just working as a GTA and as a student worker in the international office. What were some of the extracurricular activities that you were engaged in as well?
Okay, in my first semester, I got elected as the president of the International Student Union, and I held that position for 2 semesters before handing over to the next administration. Then later on, I became a senator at the Student Government Association, which is the highest student body where we meet to make decisions with the student body president. We vote, we pass bills and everything. And aside from that, there are also some minor ones like we have this annual homecoming parade where it involves not just the university, it involves the whole city. So we go, we parade a lot of things. And for the international students, we go with flags, we parade. And I remember the first parade we did, which I was like the student that led the parade with the staff in the international office. I remember we actually won the parade. They gave us a gift. Then the following year too, we did the same thing. Then I remember I was also involved in some volunteering activities. Like I remember during the October Fest, 2022, 2023, I volunteered with some other colleagues too. Then even beyond that, also on Sunday I played the saxophone. So I was involved in a whole lot of things.
You
So my
were
schedule was always like
a very busy student, serving as president of the International Student Union, doing some volunteer work, and also playing the saxophone for your church. Wow, that is amazing and that is impressive. And one thing that I usually also share with international students is that most American universities specifically are interested in that type of student you were at Fort Hays State University, students who are involved. Yes, it's good to go to classroom. It's good to be a very dedicated student and get all A's, but institutions are also interested in a type of student who can do more than just going to classes. They want students who are involved in the community, who do volunteer work, who take some leadership responsibilities in some of those student organizations that exist on the campuses. If you come to the United States specifically, you will find hundreds of student organizations at your institution, and you are free to join any of those organizations that could be of interest to you. And if you don't find any of the organizations to be of interest to you, you are also free to start your own organization. And as I said, institutions like that, they want students who are involved. It not only helps you build a solid network of individuals from around the world, because one good thing about universities in the United States is that when you get here, you get the chance to meet hundreds of nationalities, right?
Yeah,
and that is an opportunity for you to build some meaningful network, meaningful connection with people from all over the world. And those relationships, those connections can be of help for you if at some point you find yourself traveling to, let's say, China. You've made a friend while you were a student at your university. You travel to China, you probably will have a place to stay. Or if you are Chinese or somebody from Europe, you've met somebody from Nigeria and you want to travel to Lagos at some point, you made friend with AY, you will definitely have a place in Lagos to stay without worrying about paying a hotel. I'm sure that in Lagos, in Africa in general, we can provide for those kind of stuff for our friends that we've met during our studies in the United States. So being involved is very, very critical. So what were some of the benefits, of those involvement for you personally, and how do you think your involvement on campus at Fort Hays State University also helped you in your academic journey?
Okay, so I would say there are a lot of benefits involved. One of it is access. You have access to different offices that on a normal day. When I was in Nigeria during my undergraduate days, I had never been to my vice chancellor's office. I only know, okay, this is the building where the office is. It's a Senate building and everything. But with all my activities, I've even been to the university president's house. I was there more than once. Then a lot of speaking engagements. I could remember there was an event where the mayor of the city of Hayes was to speak. I also spoke on the same podium with him.
Wow.
Different events. We went to the state capitol, went to the state senate, house, even went to the governor's office. I have a picture where I sat on the governor's seat.
Wow.
Yeah, so it actually gives you a lot of access.
Yeah.
Different people. Then I would get emails from even staff that I don't know. Okay, why can you please come to this? Come and speak about your country in this elementary school. I was invited to. There was a time I was invited to an elementary school to go speak about Nigeria. I did a slide, told them about Nigeria. I even played some Nigerian games with them. All these 10-10, all those games. I played it with the children. So it gives you a lot of access to do things. And I also want to strike a balance before I continue, which you've also mentioned earlier. Like, remember, the primary purpose is to study, right? But even though you are studying, if you're asked that, okay, what was your experience in this place, and you could only say, okay, I had A's, then normally we expect you to have A's. We expect you to pass. And you know, when we're talking about passing here, it's not like when I was an undergraduate, I think having A's was like, was it 70 or 75% and above? But yeah, we are talking about A's that is 90 to 100. If you have 89, that's not an A. You must have 90s. Yeah. And that's even my program. There are some programs like my wife's program. I think A is 92 or something. So it's not just so when you see someone getting involved in all this and still doing well academically, it's not like maybe it's luck. Yeah, you can't even B is in the 80s, then C's you're not even looking for C's. But C's in some other countries, the grade that gave you C is what will give them A. So when we are talking about these activities, not like we are just playing around, we are still serious with our studies, meeting deadlines. And you know that here in the United States, your deadline starts from the first week. You might have the first week of class where it's still like introduction. You might even have 2 deadlines for a particular course that same week. The following week, I think I did a course that in the 3rd week, I was already writing an exam. So I just needed to strike that balance. So back to what I was saying. So it gives you access. And as Dr. Yaro said earlier, you also have access to meet people from different countries. I've met people from, I think I'll even need to do a list where I will write countries and people and citizens I've met from, because I've met from different countries. I could even remember during our wedding, I just need to mention, our groom and bride train was like a combination of people from different countries. It had Nigerians, Ghanaians, Indians, Mexican, Christian, everybody. Like, it was just
all over the world.
different people. So just to show you how you have the opportunity to meet different people, even though it's still one country you are in.
Yeah.
So it's very good to get involved in all of these things, because you would appreciate it, and it will also give your time the meaning
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good meaning, yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, we getting some questions in the comment section, and as I mentioned, if you are watching us, please feel free to type your questions in the comment. We will bring them up and also try to provide answers to the best of our abilities. And again, if you haven't subscribed yet to the Global Scholar Gateway YouTube channel, please do so. Just go on Google, type Dr. Fatin Yaro, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will be able to continue bringing you some amazing scholars like AYs every weekend to share their stories with you, so that you too can gain the type of opportunities that they have gotten. So we have a question from Baba Tunde, and Baba Tunde from Ogun State, Nigeria, is asking, do you think that Trump's executive orders that concerns education and financial aid will affect prospective international students applying for assistantships now? What is your take on that, AY? Do you want to try and provide some answers, and I can also chime in?
Okay, I would say this question is more like a question for someone who has some governmental roles. So I would like to avoid this question, because it's more of like some kind of political.
Yes.
All I would say is that no matter what, just make yourself competitive in pursuing funding and everything, because you are competing for a very little. How do I put it? The slot for the fund is very little, and you're competing with everybody over the world. So just make sure you are competitive enough for it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And to that, yes, it's true that it can be a controversial question these days with everything going on right now. But as AY has mentioned, make sure that you build the type of profiles that universities want, and that universities would want to invest in. Because one thing that they also want to see in you is that leadership potential. Once they invest in you, they want to be sure that you will go out and do big things and become somebody, so that they can be proud to mention you on the website. That when, for example, AY becomes the Minister of Finance in Nigeria, Fort Hayes will definitely be proud to mention that it is here that he got his master's degree. So build the type of profile that you need, and financial support will certainly continue to be there. It's going to be difficult with what is going on right now, but it is going to continue to be there. It's going to just be more competitive for you to be selected to get some of those financial type of support. So make sure that you build the type of profile that they want. And if you have questions, please feel free to continue asking them in the comment section. And as I said, we will do our best to provide answers to the best of our abilities. All right, so you come to Fort Hayes through financial support, graduate teaching assistantship. You also work with the international office. You were involved in the community. So you built a type of profile, as I was just mentioning, that most universities are looking for. How do you think your involvement, your experience at Fort Hayes State University was able to help you gain admission into the PhD program you're currently pursuing?
Okay, so remember I talked about access, like getting involved gave a lot of access and everything. I could remember there was a time we had an event on campus and I was there. So I met the dean of the School of Business then, so we had a chat. So while discussing, he was asking, "Oh, okay, what's my plan after my master's and everything?" So I was like, "Well, I would like to pursue a PhD and everything." So we did not have enough time to discuss. It was like, okay, maybe I can just stop by his office one day and we'll discuss. So I remember on a particular day I was in his office and we started discussing. So he now brought up the GRE or GMAT exam issue again because it was like in the field of business and finance, it is very important to have it before you can pursue a PhD because most PhD programs, especially funded programs, require the GRE or the GMAT. So I was like, oh, this exam again. I thought I already escaped from this exam. So after the discussion, I think during my second semester, he left the school for another university, so we had a meeting and everything. Okay, so fast forward to my third semester, I had no choice than to prepare for the GRE exam.
GRE again.
Yeah, I will not mention my score because I don't want it to look like a standard for getting admission. But
No, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, it was a very that third semester was one of my busiest semester in Fortes. It was a very busy semester, even with the workload and everything. So this might sound weird, but I would say I prepared for GRE in 2 weeks. I prepared in
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, it was very stressful. So I wrote the exam. I know as immediately as submitting, I seen your score. Mm-hmm. So even before submitting, I was like, I will never write this exam again in my life. So I submitted, I saw my score. So after that, I reached out to, he had already left Fortes. Oh, Dr. This, I reached out to him on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, yeah, that's very true. Please make sure you're active on LinkedIn. So I told him, oh, I wrote GRE and I got his score. I was like, okay. So he now mentioned some universities in which Morgan State was one of the schools he mentioned. I should try Morgan State.
And Morgan State University.
Which
in Maryland.
In Maryland, in Baltimore, Maryland. So that was how I got to know about Morgan State University. Then on my own too, I applied to up to 5 universities. I think I got admitted into 3. Mm-hmm. I got admitted into 3 and I'm in Morgan now. So that's how I. So the GRE now.
So this is the website, Morgan State University. As I said, our goal at Global Scholar Gateway is to expose some of those universities, so that you too can, look into them for yourself. If you're interested, you can go through the website and see what they require for you to apply. And what are some of the requirements for international and so on and so forth, if you're interested in the graduate school. So you can have all the information and you can fill out this form if you are trying to get some information related to admission at the institution. Okay, go ahead, AY.
Okay, so I think I got admitted to Southern New Hampshire University, and there's another university to Sacred Heart. Yeah, so I got admitted to those universities and.
Southern New Hampshire.
Yeah, Southern New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah, then the peculiarity of the universities I applied to is the demographics. Now, just like in Nigeria, in which Lagos is the financial capital in Nigeria. Now, I discovered that the financial capital is New York City, actually, or most especially the East Coast. So I applied to universities that would take me closer to the East Coast, Washington, D.C., New York City, and everything. Mm-hmm. So that's why I got admitted here to Southern New Hampshire, and I decided to go for Morgan State University, in which I'm glad I made the decision to come to Morgan.
Yeah, why? How did you make that decision? Why did you choose to go to Morgan State instead of the other institutions that you were admitted to?
Okay. Looking at the universities that I got admitted, I'll say Morgan is even about one of the biggest. Then they also offered me a fully funded program, and looking at the profile of the professors and everyone there, you know that they don't settle for less. These are top-notch professors. If you even check their publications, they publish in the topmost journals. So that puts us under pressure, because before getting admission, I had a few publications, but then I didn't care about the ranking of the journal. Whether it's highly ranked but now the kind of work they give us, they give you work in which you have to even reference top journals. You're not like you're
Yeah.
looking at small journals. So that's one of the qualities I saw with the kind of professors
Yeah.
in Morgan, especially my department, in which it's
Mhm.
actually pushing me.
Yeah, so I think you made a very important point. You had some publications while you were going through your master's program, and you know
Yeah.
that you were interested in going to a PhD program. To our
Yeah.
viewers again, if you are interested in going for a PhD, it is good for you to engage in research at an early stage. If you're an undergraduate student, you can do some research in collaboration with some of your professors. And if you also in a graduate program at a master's level, and knowing that you would be interested in going for a PhD program, it is very important for you to engage in research and publication. That is, it grants you some very good score compared to other applicants. And sometimes it can be very competitive to get into some of those prestigious universities for a PhD program. And with funding, they need to see that, yes, you are able to conduct research that would be publishable. Because if you go into a research institution like AY mentioning Morgan State University, it's a research university in the United States, and they want the type of students who are able to do research and publish their research. So be sure to engage in research at an early stage if you know that you would be interested in pursuing PhD specifically.
Yeah.
Mhm. So you mentioned that you gained fully funded scholarship to go to Morgan State University. How were you able to get that scholarship?
Okay, so it started even before I applied to the university.
Again.
So it started before I applied. So this is one thing. Okay, I also mentioned earlier that the goal is to get admission in a university that would actually give you a fully funded program, not just any university. Because if it's about admission, let me say you can get admission but not funding.
Yeah.
So one of the strategies I used then was for any school I wanted to apply to. I had different schools that I checked and I saw the programs were okay. So I would reach out to them, introduce myself, and a brief introduction about my career and everything. Then I would inquire about the program and also about funding. So some will let you know that, okay, we don't have funding at the moment, or for this particular semester, we don't have funding, maybe for the second or third. So I know that that is off the list. No matter how good the school is, that's off the list. So I reached out. And most schools, it's not like they will actually promise you that you will get the funding. But once you hear things like, okay, yeah, we have funded programs, or you can apply for our for our funding opportunities after getting admission, I know that, okay, at least there's prospect. So after seeing all those kind of schools, I will now go through everything. Okay, which one is a more valuable university and everything. So I reached out then and I got the admission first before the funding, and not long after the funding also came. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. So again, it's all about reaching out to people. And as I said earlier, nobody's going to hurt you because you reaching out and asking the right question. And that is the right thing for you if you are interested in gaining scholarship and gaining funding. Go through the university's website, look into your department. Who are some key individuals that you think you can reach out if you're looking for those kind of financial support? Usually, reaching out to the department chair can be a good strategy. You can also identify some faculty members that you'd like to work with, specifically if you are interested in a PhD program and conducting research. Make sure that you also research a little bit on the background on the background of the faculty members at your department and see what kind of research they have conducted. And if it is in an area that is of interest to you, if that is an area that you too would want to investigate, you can reach out to that specific faculty member and let them know that you've read the articles and you are also interested in conducting research in that specific area. And yeah, if they have funding available, they would definitely be pleased to have you work with them as a graduate assistant, as a graduate teaching assistant, or as a graduate research assistant, and fund your tuition and also provide some stipend, monthly stipend for you to be able to pay your bills. Because yeah, tuition is one thing, but you also need to pay your bills and be able to feed yourself. So when universities give you an assistantship, it usually comes with some stipends as well, some monthly stipend. Are you getting enough stipend, AY, to provide for yourself and live a decent life in Maryland?
Yeah, the stipend is okay and sufficient, but it doesn't mean I don't want more. You always
But
want more, yeah.
it's good enough, to pay for your rent and buy food and all those kind of
more
stuff.
than that,
So
yeah.
yeah, so opportunities are out there. We already passed an hour in this conversation, and I know that with AY we can continue indefinitely, but we can need to come to a conclusion. What would be some final words for our viewers, AY, for those who are also interested in having the opportunities that you have gotten during your academic journey to not only gain admission but also gain fully funded scholarships or partial scholarships? What are some tips that you would want to share with our viewers so that they can follow your path?
Okay, so the first thing which I mentioned earlier is make sure that you're applying to a school that has available funding, not just a school with a big name. Then the second thing, read through the website, send emails. When I say emails, you are not bugging them. Send strategic emails and let it be detailed but brief. Detailed but brief. Then also make inquiries from people. Then the same way you're watching this video, we check for interviews, check for videos. Then after getting the funding, don't stop there, because I remember in Fortes, even though I had funding, I still got some scholarships, like the Rotary Scholarship, the International Scholarship. So don't just stop there. There are a lot of opportunities, further opportunities for you to get. And even if it's a PhD, you can also get some fellowships and other things that will even be in addition to your assistantship. So don't stop at just the assistantship. Go for more. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. So apply, reach out to individuals on the university, go through the website, reach out to faculty members, reach out to staff members via strategic emails, as AY has mentioned. But you don't need to bug them. Don't send them emails every single day. Send them an email and wait. It can take a couple of weeks. It can take sometime a month for them to get back to you. But if you don't hear from them within a couple of weeks or a month, you can again reach out and let them know that you have applied and you've sent them an email previously and you were wondering if they saw it and what is the feedback on the things that you were trying to gain information about. Nobody, again, is going to hurt you about those kind of inquiries. So feel free to do that and continue applying. Once you get here, there are hundreds of other smaller scholarships opportunities. Even if you get a graduate assistantship, there are some additional scholarships that you can apply for and add them up to the main scholarship that you have. And it's all about gaining access, asking questions, reaching out to individuals on campus, and also being involved. That's how you find out about the different kind of opportunities that are available and how you can continue securing more additional scholarships and making or alleviating the cost of tuition for you when you get here in the United States. So once again, thank you very much, AY, for spending some time with us. And to our viewers, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, please do so. That's how we are going to be able to continue bringing some amazing scholars like AY every weekend to share the journey with you so that you too can gain some types of inspiration, some types of experiences, and get admission and also fully funded or partial scholarships to study in the United States. Thank you so much. And we will be together again next week on Saturday. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.